We are here outside of the Marriott Renaissance Hotel down in the Seaport district in Boston. I'm joined by my bosses Nick Gelso and KYRIE from CLNS Radio and Beats and Eats. I'm Jared Weiss. We got to talk more about these draft picks. Marcus Smart at number 6, James Young at number 17. Ty, the Celtics, they went with the scores that they needed, but they didn't fill the biggest, like, kind of hopeful needs that everybody was looking for.
I gotta be honest, Jared, I was hoping for Julius Randle of Kentucky, and it saddens me that he went to the Lakers of all teams. But I'm a little puzzled with the pick here. I don't understand why they would choose a guard unless they've got plans for Avery Bradley or Rondo. After giving it some thought overnight, I'm thinking Bradley may be on the way out, not Rondo.
Well, he's the one that literally has the option to leave.
Correct. Yep.
And they're setting themselves up to be able to handle the possibility of Bradley leaving. He's a restricted free agent. They don't leave very often, but Bradley's the kind of guy that, because of his injury history, you're a little bit worried about committing $9 million a year to him. And a Marcus Smart, you're getting a player with a ton of similarities. He's a great defender. I mean, Avery Bradley is one of the elite defenders, but Smart's a great defender. He's incredibly tough. He's a great leader offensively and defensively. He provides a lot of the characteristics that the Celtics want going forward on their team, Nick.
Yeah, feisty. Like Ty said, we had initially thought Rajon Rondo was out the door. I think it's definitely Avery Bradley, Jared, and Smart has the defensive capabilities where he probably lacks offensively, but Bradley has been inconsistent there as well. So definitely Smart devalues Bradley, brings more value to the Celtics with his defensive capabilities. I think he's got a great potential offensively, and Danny has liked him for quite a long time now, going back to when he defended the racial slurs. Wasn't there a racial comment a while back?
Well, he was accosted by a fan in the stands who used the N-word, and he went at him, and he got suspended a few games for that.
And Danny loved it.
Shades of Max in Philadelphia back in the early 80s. That's right.
Max would love to hear this.
Well, Max has probably heard. Everyone's heard about the Marcus Smart situation.
Love to hear us.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. Yeah, but the thing with Marcus Smart is he got some criticism for overreacting, not being the mature one. But all the Celtics were talking about last night, the actual people in the front office, and Brad Stevens, is his feistiness and his instigatorness, if that's even a word. I don't think it is, but we'll make it a word.
Right.
Those are his best attributes.
And then the other thing I think that the Celtics were impressed with was his maturity. So that incident happened, but then he served his sentence like a man, and he came out and played his best basketball of the year right after that.
May I add to that? I think the Celtics have been lacking in that feisty beast mentality really since Burke left. Now this is a whole new team, but it's starting off in a good way where you're adding a strong personality, but a respectful personality, like you said. And I think he's going to fit in quite well. I'm wondering, Jared, and I want to pose this to you, being on scene last night at the Garden, what was the reactions of not only the fans there that you had seen, but also Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens to the Rajon Rondo situation? Is there a little skepticism as far as what's going to happen with Rondo?
It was very
Did they put him at ease?
It was very straightforward. He's in our plans.
Good.
That was it. I mean, Danny Ainge was asked last night, is Rajon Rondo in your plans? He just said yes. Very simple.
Well, that could mean a lot of things. It could mean plans to trade. You know, Danny is Danny.
I mean, Danny is about semantics, and he'll use as few semantics as possible to make things as open-ended as possible. But right now, drafting Marcus Smart, I don't think that means they have to trade Rajon Rondo.
At the moment, no. I would say no.
And Jarrett, last night we were hosting a draft party, which we'll get to in a second, but it was really interesting at that party. I almost felt like it was like Christmas, because everybody expected this great present to be unwrapped in form of a trade. Everybody wanted a trade last night. It didn't happen. What was your sense there at the Garden?
Everyone was, it was kind of like, because it wasn't like nothing happened. They still drafted the player.
And there were some surprises, right?
There, well, with other teams in the draft, sure. But the thing is, it's not like they didn't get into the draft and they came away with nothing. They still came away with 2 capable players, 2 exciting players, 2 players whose YouTube highlight reels will have people getting excited up until the season starts. So they at least have something to kind of wrap their hands around right now. But if they, if they traded out of that for like something in the future, or, that would have been really devastating, I think, for the fans, especially because everybody felt that they needed to be rewarded on Thursday night, that they sat through an entire, just a terrible season, and everyone was waiting for their reward. And Marcus Smart wasn't the reward that everybody was hoping for. He's still a good reward. Last year, he would have been the best reward in the draft, probably. So it's not like they came away empty-handed.
Let me ask you this. Was there any sort of reaction, and I want your opinion on, would things have been differently had the Sixers not picked up Embiid?
Yeah.
And what was the reaction?
Well, when Embiid got picked, it was, okay, I guess he's not going to slide all the way down. Because the thing is, when he got picked at 3, which is where a lot of people thought he could be picked, I think it was after the 3rd pick is where people would start to get a little bit antsy and think, okay, maybe this will happen. So I don't think anybody was feeling that up to that point they were in the whole watching Embiid slip kind of mode. They weren't the whole excited, dancing in their seats kind of thing. Right. So if he had slipped to 4, that's when things would have gotten really interesting.
A bit anticlimactic?
Yes.
Yes.
Very.
To say the least.
Very. Okay, so we didn't really talk about James Young. I mean, Ty, quickly, just do you feel James Young works for this team?
I do. I think that the Celtics, last year, let's face it, guys, their perimeter scheme was atrocious, right?
Sure.
Just atrocious. So he can help on that front. I got to admit, I thought it was a surprise pick. I thought they might go with somebody, you know, a forward, or maybe even just take a flyer on a center. I didn't expect them to take another guard. I really did. What were your feelings on that?
Well, they see him as a 3, and that's what he said in his press conference.
Really?
They think he's a small forward. He has some similarities to Jeff Green. He has a bunch of them, actually. Yeah. Well, yeah, but the thing is, the problem with Jeff Green isn't his skill set. No, that's not his problem.
No,
that's his greatest attribute.
Right about that. Yep.
So, you know, James Young, he seems like he makes sense. They need more guys that can get to the rim. They need more guys that can shoot.
Doesn't Danny always seem to draft guards? I mean, we took Sully last year and Olenek, but historically, it seems like he's guard heavy in the draft.
I think that was earlier in their drafting, because that was more of a need for them.
True. That's a good point.
That was before Rondo was a real star. They were kind of trying to find guards. They had Ray Allen, but they needed backups. Yep. So yeah, so I think guard was a bigger need for them early on. Now the front court's been their need for the past few years.
Before we move on to the events of last night, I'm going to throw a knuckle at you.
Okay.
Not literally, but I know you like to throw bows on this show.
No boxing out after last night's round.
Does LeBron stay in Miami?
Sure, they have Shabazz Napier. Why would he leave now?
And he wanted. That's the guy that LeBron wanted.
Yeah, as if a late first-round pick is going to make the difference of whether LeBron. You know, LeBron got a guy that he likes, and LeBron's smarter than LeBron. Obviously, doesn't think Shabazz Napier is the best player in that draft. I'm sure LeBron would have been happy with any of those guys in the top 15, but for where they were picking, Napier was a good pick for them. Yeah, Napier was a bit of an upgrade considering their expectations coming into the draft. So tell me about last night, Nick. I wasn't there. I got to.
You were the
star. I was virtually there last night, but I didn't get to physically be there.
You were amazing. You were amazing. We hosted this event last night at the Renaissance Waterfront Hotel here in Boston. It was a draft night party on their Global Day of Discovery. They were kind enough to invite Nick and I to come down to host a draft night party. And we talked to Jarrett via Skype. How big was that screen? Your head was huge.
Well, it already is.
It already is pretty big.
I can't even buy a beanie for winter.
I've got to say, I wish we had a video.
Yes.
Because the shot behind you was way better attractive than you. But it was kind of awesome because the last couple years, Celtics fans have not been able to attend the draft. They opened up the Garden again. There you are. I think you need to tell, no, we won't tell the listeners what you were standing on.
Oh, that's fine. I had a very high ledge where I was putting the camera, so I had to kind of stand up on one of those swivel chairs in the premium seats.
But behind Jared is you, the fans, and it really is a testament to Celtics fans to see the excitement in that Garden.
Sure.
It was incredible.
And you related so perfectly during the event.
Nick and I, we were just kind of going on and on and on, as we often do. And
too often.
As you're doing right now.
Our AV guy, who was working with us, Bill Windy Connect, he brought you up and jaws.
Yes.
And I'm not over exaggerating here. I'm not exaggerating. Jaws dropped when you came on the screen. It was like people were transported to the Garden, and I'm serious when I say that.
And the food had just come out. Now we all know we're all going to stop listening to the hosts when the food comes out. Sure. We're going to go eat the free food. Well, let me tell you, and the food was delightful the day of Discovery at Renaissance. But people stopped with their plates to watch what was going on the big screen. Good job.
Thanks,
That was
sir.
incredible. It was a great experience, and
More to come.
Yeah, it was terrific, and I hope we do more of these with you.
Do it again next year, and we'll do this again next week for the free agency edition. So, Nick, Ty, thanks for joining us on the Garden Report. It's fun to have you guys on. Fun to have a new location. Got the water behind us, the planes flying overhead. We'll have to come out here every single time we do the show. So, yeah, we'll see you for the free agency special. We'll see what happens. The Celtics could be making some more moves. We'll talk to you then. This is the Garden Report on Celtics Blog and CLNS Radio.